Rabbi Lazar, Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'malach, Toil Li Rav Shabehem. I don't want to kill a multitude of people. So take someone who's very, very chashiv, sheyesh boy lifor mehem kama choyves, that by taking him, it will patter up a lot of various of Klal Yisrael, because he's like many people. He was such a chashiv person. I don't think Avuha decided about that haskama, because that haskama made him die. He was the one who was selected to be mechaper on Klal Yisrael. Rabbi Elfin said over there was by a certain young gadol who died. The wife of the nifter went to her father, who was also gadol, and says, "What if they took my husband?" So her father said, "Because he shakal connected so many people, so I'm sure that made her feel great." She lost her husband, but at the end of the day, the Rebbe tries to minimize the damage and take someone who has the greatest impact. Lahashchis ra Hashem vayinachim ala ra. So it's actually the same pasuk then. It's the end of the same pasuk. My ra. What did the Rebbeinu Shalom see that he was vayinachim ala ra? Rav Ra Yaakov Avinu. The Rebbeinu Shalom saw Yaakov Avinu. Tichsiv vayomer Yaakov kasharom. So I want to focus on this a little bit. Vayomer Yaakov kasharom machane elakim zeh vayikra Hashem hamakam hahu machanoim. Now goes weiter. Shmuel Omar. What did the Rebbeinu Shalom see? Afar shel Yitzchak. The offer of Yitzchak Ra shenemar elakim yur lo yaseh. So I would say that that's referring to the schus. He saw the schus of Akedas Yitzchak, and in that schus he saved Klal Yisrael. He saw the first time that Klal Yisrael was counted properly with money. Shenamar, it says over there, and that's in Shemois. It says V'lakach es kesef haKippurim me'eis b'nei Yisrael. And that's referring to. So Rashi tells us that the Kesef HaKippurim that was done in the Midbar, that's chus helped them today. I'll just read Rashi inside. Shenosa b'minyan rishon, the Kesef Kippurim that Klal Yisrael gave, but a minyan rishon shel Yisrael l'mishkan who kiper al million zeh. That those coins were mechaper on this counting. Sharei l'zikaron osan k'dechsev v'oil of Bnei Yisrael l'zikaron l'chaper. So there it says that it was given l'zikaron. That means the Rebbe kept it in the bank to be used at a future time when Klal Yisrael would need that schus, and that's the schus that saved them. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, the Beis Hamikdash ra. The Rebbe saw the Beis Hamikdash chsiv b'har Hashem yirah. Pligi bar Reb Yaakov bar Idi v'Rab Shmuel bar Nachmeni. So machlok is what it's referring to. Chad Amar Kesef HaKippurim ra, the Chad Amar Beis Hamikdash ra. Umistaver command Amar Beis Hamikdash ra, shenemar asher ya'amar hayoim b'har Hashem yirah, meaning even today, the Rebbe is still looking at the Beis Hamikdash, meaning the Beis Hamikdash still asks, its chus lasts continuously to continue to save us. So the problem that I had with this Gemara is, I assume when the Rebbe saw something to save us from a Magefa, the Rebbe saw a schus that Klal Yisrael had. And in that schus, Klal Yisrael was saved. So I understand how Akedas Yitzchak is a schus. I understand how the Beis Hamikdash is a schus. I understand that Kesef Kippurim is a schus. But what is the schus of Yaakov that it's referring to? It's my ra is referring to Yaakov because it uses the word ra by Yaakov also. But what schus is that? What? What does that mean? So that's what the Ben Yehoyada says. The Ben Yehoyada elaborates, because he asks a lot of questions. I'll find the word ra by Moshe, and I'll find it by Yitzchak. I can find the word ra everywhere. So it's attributing this ra to Yaakov. So he says Yaakov was very derhoibin. He was above the sichlius of a person. It said he was able to recognize the Stama Malach and the Malach Alakim, and that's a special ruchnistic seichel, and it's a special ruchnistic bond between Yaakov and the Rebbeinu Shalom, and it's that schus that we're referring to, that high madriga Yaakov was on. Ben Yehoyada is speaking in a language that's like way above my head, but the general gist of what he was saying is that there was a higher bond that Yaakov Avinu had over everybody else.
Do you know if there's a Ben Yehoyada in English?
I'm not aware of one. You have to understand after the ArtScroll came out, it undid some of the godless of a lot of Magidei Shir who are Taka Talmidei Chacham. It created a whole new tier of Magidei Shir like me who could just read the ArtScroll. So the Chosh of Magidei Shir need to have some exclusivity. So if everything comes out in English, then everyone's always Kapelschmacher. There used to be a sefer that everybody remembers in our youth, the Rosh of Chidush Reb Kiveger. Right? That was Reb Kiveger's Chidushim on Shas. And then he had Chuvas Reb Kiveger. Right? But when we learned in Yeshiva, there was a sefer called Chidush Reb Kiveger, that somebody took all the Chuvas of Reb Kiveger throughout Shas, and he placed them in order of the Masechta. So this way, when you're learning the Gemara, you could actually find a Chuvah that's relevant to what you were learning. Rabbi Yishvei, he wrote all his shiurim before that sefer came out. And his godless was that he knew Klor, the Chuvas Reb Kiveger, and he would apply them to shiurim. So you come to a shir, you hear, wow, you still Reb Kiveger's Chuvah from who knows where. It's unbelievable. And then this sefer came out, and then everybody knew Rabbi Yishvei the next day. So when we used to have a shaila on Reb Kiveger, and we would come up to him with the sefer inside to ask him to explain to us, if we brought the Drosh v'Chiddush or the Chuvas, he would review it with us. If we brought the Chiddush Reb Kiveger, he said, no, I don't look at that sefer. He would not. He refused to look at that sefer because that literally undid his claim to fame. So if everything is translated into English, then
there has to be more to a Magid Shir than a fellow who simply just knows Lashon HaKodesh.
I hear. One thing I can tell you, even if you understand Hebrew perfectly, it's still very difficult to understand what Ben Yehuda says a lot of times.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Okay, Zok the Heilige Gemara weiter. Lo yichnas adam lahar bayis b'makwe. The Mishnah says you're not allowed to walk into Har Bayis with your stick in a casual fashion. And you're not allowed to make it into a kapandria. Frag the Gemara, my kapandria. What is a kapandria? Amarava, kapandria kishmot. It means a shortcut. A kapandria means a shortcut. In Muncie, everybody goes through people's backyards to get from one street to the next. It saves them time. If you have to get from the south side of the Beis HaMikdash to the north side, don't walk through the Azar. That's not the way to go. Rav Chana bar Adam Shmid, Rav Sama bar Rav Mori Amar, Command Amar Inish, Adam Makifna Adri. Instead of going all the way around, Dr. Rashi, but Oichani Makif, Kol Shur Sabatam Alolu, instead of walking around this entire row of homes, Ekonis Kan Likatzer Darki. I'm going to go in to take a short turn. There is a shaila here. With the way we just read it, it seems like both mandombers say exactly the same thing. However, there's other the Gilyoinei Shas, which I don't have here, brings down that this mandomber who holds Adamavka Inchi Adri Oil, that's like a shortcut. But when Rabbi said Kapandra, he might have meant a place where people gather. So don't use the Beis HaMikdash as a gathering place to meet and shmooze. Only go there to worship. Amar Rab Nachman, Amar Rabbi Baravua. Hanichnas al Beis HaKnesses Almanash Shaloi La'asosei Kapandra. What happens if I'm coming to shul, I'm walking to shul, and I'm walking from my house? So I'm going to come in the door at the southwest corner, right? That's where I'll come in from, because that's where I'm coming from. But what happens if after davening, I was invited to eat by a Vermont Friedman who lives across the street on this side? So when I leave, I'll walk out through the front door, so I have a shortcut now, because I'm going out the closest door. So Zok Gemara, Mutter La'asosei Kapandra. Then you're allowed to, because you came into the Beis Medrash to daven, and when you left, you're leaving the door, which would be closest to where your destination is. You'd have to bedafka walk out of the same door you came in from, and then walk around. What happens even before they built the Beis Medrash? There was a path going through it to take you to cut through the block. Then it's if one goes into a Beis HaKnesses to daven, Mutter La'asosei Kapandra, he's allowed to do it. And you know what? You see that from a pasuk, the way it used to work in the Beis HaMikdash is, we learned also in Midos, you never left through the same door that you came in from. It was more of a kovedik to leave through a different door, sort of walking through it. So here you see a concept that there's actually a certain chashivas not to leave through the same door that you came in from, meaning you want to go through this, a certain chashivas of a place of going through it. Imagine someone goes to the science center, he comes in, he turns around, he walks out. No, it needs to go through the whole thing. So there's a certain chashivas for a place when you go through the whole thing. What's that? That's how it works
End
there?
up through the gift shop. That's the point.
That's right. That's right. That's how it's made. There's a certain route. And there's dedication opportunities all along the route. We're soon going to see an opposing svara from Rebbe Yashiv. We were kikah mikal v'chomer. So the Mishnah says you're surely not allowed to spit. What's the kal v'chomer? From where do you see that you're not allowed to spit? So let's look at it. I believe it's from Kapandria. So it says v'lo yikaros la'arbayis b'makloi v'molei uv'm'patugasoi uv'avashor raglov v'lo yasa Kapandria u'rekika mikal v'chomer. So Parsha Pshat is that you're not allowed to spit in the Beis Hamikdash kal v'chomer from Kapandria because rekika is probably more degrading than making it into a shortcut. Amar Bibi Amar Bishua ben Levi. Kol ha'roikik b'harabayis b'zman hazeh. Someone who spits in harabayis b'zman hazeh, and that means when the Beis Hamikdash was operational. Ki'ilu roikik b'vas einoi. It's as if he's spitting in the eye of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Shnemar. I'm sorry. B'zman hazeh means even la'achar churban bayis. I apologize. La'achar churban bayis. Shnemar. V'hoya einai v'libi sham kol hayom. The Rebbeinu Shalom is saying that my presence will be there all the time. So spitting in the Makam Harabayis is like spitting in the Rebbeinu Shalom's eye. Amar Rava, Rikika v'Beis HaKnesses shari. Spitting in the Beis HaKnesses is mutter. I know Akiva just breathed a sigh of relief. Midi dehava aminal, no difference than wearing shoes, which you're allowed to wear in the Beis Medrash. Ma minal b'harabayis aser, but the Beis HaKnesses mutter after Rikika, although b'harabayis hu aser, the Beis HaKnesses shari. And the Beis HaKnesses you're allowed to. Amar Rapapa l'Rava, Rami l'Ravina l'Rava, Rami l'Rav Adar bar Masna l'Rava. So a lot of people were jumping on Rava for saying this halacha that you're allowed to spit in the Beis Medrash. And he said, Adi Yalef miminal, which is typical. Everyone attacks on Lubavitchers. So Rava was allowing spitting in the Beis Medrash, and he got attacked from all sides. Adi Yalef miminal, Yalef mikapandria, learn from Kapandria, Taser. Amalei Tani Yalef le miminal. So Rabbi told him back, I don't understand. The Tana in the Mishnah learns it from the Tana. I'm going to quote, learns it from Minal. That Amrit Mikapandria Mahi. Where did the Tana learn it out of Minal? The Tanya Lo Yikanis Adam LaHarabayis Lo B'Makla Shabiyadoi Lo B'Min Oel Shabiragloi Lo B'Mois Atruin Lo B'Sedinoi U'B'Pandosei Mufshalos LaChayrav. So you're not allowed to walk in with your walking stick, not with your shoes, not with money in your thing. And his package over his shoulder. You shouldn't make it a shortcut. So here it's saying in the Brisa that we know you're not allowed to spit a kavachayim from shoes. Which it's not bizyonistic to walk through a building with your shoes. Nevertheless, the Gemara is borrowing a nusach from where Moshe Rabbeinu saw the sneh. You have to take off your shoes when you go into the Beis HaMikdash. Rikika, shiderech b'zoyin, lo kol shekein. Spitting, which is a derech b'zoyin, for sure should be aser in the Beis HaMikdash. And minal is mutter in the Beis HaKnesses. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, ein tzarech. I don't need that raya. Harayu Omer kein lovay el shar hamelech b'levush sak. This is our inyan. The Yoma, Mordechai said it's not appropriate to come to the Shar HaMelech wearing sackcloth. It's not mos. It's not discussing. It's sad. It's available, but it's not mos. Nevertheless, it's not appropriate to wear that in front of a king. Rikika, spitting. Shimuusa. Rikika is spitting, which is much more mias than wearing a sackcloth. And l'fnei melech malchem lochem, and it's in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, l'koshgein, surely spitting should be also. Amalei anahari kamina. This is what I meant to say. I'm not trying to tell you that Rikika should be mutter in the Beis HaMikdash. What I'm trying to say is name a hachal l'chomer v'hachal l'chomer. I'm suggesting that it should be osir. So the people asking our Rabbi were suggesting that Rikika should be osir both in a Beis HaKnesses and in the Beis HaMikdash. Zok Gemara ve'ema harabayis the osir b'minol harabayis where it's osir to wear shoes lo from minol. There we learn that Rikika is osir from the fact that you're not allowed to wear shoes from the Kal V'chomer we discussed. Aval Beis HaKnesses the shori b'minol, but shuls where it's mutter to wear shoes. Adiyarif minol uleheter, rather than compare it to minol like you Rabbi said, and be matter spitting. Neilef mikapandria b'lesar. Adrabah, learn it from kapandria and be make a kavachim from kapandria, which is also in a Beis HaKnesses, which is also in a Beis HaKnesses or a Beis HaMedrash. So too, spitting should be also. El Amarava ki Beisai. The reasoning for spitting is all. It all has to do with how one would behave in their home. Ma Beisai, just like in the house, a kapandria kapadinish. People don't like when strangers walk through their house to use it as a shortcut. But Arakika umina lekapadinish. People don't object to those who spit in their homes or wear shoes in their homes. This is clearly not a Hungarian Gemara, right? People have no problem with people wearing shoes in their homes. Therefore, Beis HaKnesses kapandria hu de'aser, but Rikiko minol shari. So Rabbi Yossi says, based on now comparing everything to how somebody wants people to behave in their home, so that would change halachas a little bit nowadays. First of all, he says that most people don't want spitting on the floor of their houses, right? So he says I don't know if he directly addresses that, but what he does talk about is, we said earlier that it's covered for a place to walk through. If you have guests, do you want them snooping through your whole house? Definitely not. So he says nowadays, based on our customs, it wouldn't be appropriate to wander through the whole shul. When you come to shul, you go where you belong, you go where you're supposed to be, and you shouldn't be wandering around. Another thing he said was, he speaks out as a
Kitchen's off.
if you were kitchen's off limits. That's right.
That's even in your own.
So I'm going to get to the coffee room in a second. So if you're walking through your house and there's a piece of chicken fell on the floor or a piece of Kugel fell on the floor, you would right away tell your wife to pick it up. So if you're in shul and you see a piece of Kugel on the floor, you should right away tell me to pick it up. That's right. You have to treat it like your own house. So I know, like Chaim said, in your kitchen, you know, when you treat your coffee room differently. I'm not sure if they had a coffee room in the Beis HaMikdash and how neat it was kept, but you have to treat the coffee room like you treat your own kitchen.
Well, now it makes sense to me. Now I know why everyone leaves their schmutz.
Because they think the wife's there.
No, the Filipino usually takes it.
That's right.
I think Chabad has a minute to spit during a late.
So they should bring their Filipino with them to clean up after them. Yeah.
How are we
How do they do it in the
Mazaka
house?
I'm sorry?
How are we Mazaka Akiva? When they get spitting.
No, I'm diving in.
You don't spit in the house.
If you cover it over with your foot, I don't know. Because even the Lubavitchers, they don't just spit, then they cover it over with their foot. It's brought down alocha, that then it's acceptable. Then it's acceptable.
So that I can do in the house.
But
That I can do in the house. Smear it into
when your wife's not looking,
It's changed now with Corona. If they're gonna change.
smear it into the carpet.
I
but
personally don't do it. I find it.
so he said another thing. He said a very nice word. I think he said, could we said over from the Brisker Rav? I don't remember who he said over him. It says in the Beis HaMikdash there was a nest. It was oimdim tzefufim. When they stood, everyone was like tight together. U'mishtachah v'mervachim, and when they bowed down, there's plenty of space. So the Brisker Rav asks, and I apologize if it's not the Brisker Rav. I understand the nest of mishtachah v'mervachim. It opened up, but what's the nest of oimdim tzefufim? That's not nice. It should say the nest of the Beis HaMikdash was mishtachah v'mervachim. When they bowed down, there was plenty of room. So he says, the fact that the people were able to stand straight and not push around and wander around, that in and itself was a nice. That it's also nice. Zog to Gemara weiter.
I remember you did a show once about coming in, you came right from work, and somebody asked you.
It's a rebel. I came into shul wearing whatever I was wearing, and a Rav in Toronto says to me, you should be embarrassed to come into shul like this. I was very, very upset. So upset that I ran to the Rav, and I banged on his front door and I said, let me in, right? And there were a couple of people in his office, right? And I said...
And the Rav says, that's how you come into my house with the work.
With roofing tar all over your boots.
So in front of the lady who was there and the man who was there and all the people that were there in front of the Rav's desk, I said, Rav, they don't let me in shul. He says, what's wrong? I said, am I dressed properly to daven mincha and marv? So he says to me, turn around. So I turned around like this. He says, buy new shoes. That was it.
You should have told him You should have told me. The Rav asked. They told me as I came to Harav, so you should have answered no. As I Harpetman.
That was before my father told me about it.
So they had that elaborate chasimus to the brachas, the mishmah, the olam. So kol kach lama, why such an elaborate chasimah to a bracha? So tomorrow v'shein oinin amen b'mikdash, because they didn't answer a regular amen in the mikdash. There was an elaborate response. They said baruch shem kavod malchusoi. So since there was an elaborate response, it demanded an elaborate bracha. Uminayin shein oinin amen b'mikdash. How do you know that you don't say amen in the mikdash? Shenemar kumu baruch hu es Hashem alekeichem min ha'olam ad ha'olam. So that was the bracha, and the response was v'aymer v'yivochu shem kavodecha u'meroim al kabrocha zila. So you see that they were much more elaborate with their brachas. Yochel kol brachas kulon tehilon tehila achas. You might think that you could let the kohen say all the brachas, and after he finishes all the brachas, they say one big baruch shem kavod malchusai, going back on all the brachas. Talmud le'emer u'meroimim al kol brachu sila, al kol bracha ten le'sila. After each bracha, there should be an individual amen. Think how much faster Chazor Hashatz would go if there would only be one amen at the end. Okay, you know, in the Chassidim, the way they say Baruch Hu Baruch Shmoi, they say Chiyu Baruch Shmoi. So by the Chassidim, there's a famous shayla they always ask: what's the one word in the Hebrew language that starts with an endachaf? And they say Chiyu Baruch Shmoi. Chiyu Baruch Shmoi. Okay, Zog the Gemara weiter. Hiskinu sheyeh adam shoyel b'shalom chaverei. Another takara that the Mishnah says is they were massacred that when people reach out to someone else, to their friend, they use Shem Hashem. And the Mishnah brings, I think, 3 psukim. So let's quickly review the 3 psukim that the Mishnah brings down, because the Gemara here wants to analyze why do you need all 3 of those psukim. So it says as follows. The first pasuk was from Boaz. V'nei Boaz bama beis lechem v'yomer lekotzim Hashem imachem v'yomer le'yavrach Hashem. That was the first pasuk the Mishnah brought. The second pasuk the Mishnah brought was when the Malach told Gideon, Hashem imcha gibor achayil. And the third pasuk was Al tovos kiziknei mecha, don't be mevaze the limudim from your mother, from your old mother. So why 3 psukim? My v'yomer v'chitema. If you're going to say that the first pasuk, which is the raya from Boaz, you can't bring a raya because maybe Boaz midated in Absheka Omar. Who said Boaz was doing something that was an approved greeting? Maybe it was his own thing, and you can't learn from this, Dr. Rashi. Tashma, which is a malach speaking, Hashem imcha gibor hachayil. Maybe that's also something special. So Rashi, Kleinar, you cannot learn from the Malach that this is how you greet somebody. Because the Malach was not greeting Gideon. It might seem as a greeting, but it wasn't a greeting. What was it? So Rashi, Kleinar, it wasn't a Shila Shalom, it wasn't a bracha. Maybe the Malach was just delivering a message. You should know, Gideon, that the Shechina is with you. It wasn't a bracha. So how could you learn a greeting from there? And that's the Gemara. Tashma al tovos hizikna imecha. Don't ignore, don't humiliate your mother's age. And Rashi explains, what does that tell us? So Rashi, Tashma al tovos hizikna imecha al tovos es Boaz. Don't discount the raya we brought from Boaz and say, who said Boaz's greeting was approved? Maybe it's his own thing that he did. Lemer midaite also. Ela lemoid mizikna Yisrael. Learn from the elders of Klal Yisrael, meaning Boaz, ki yesh lo al mi sheyismaich shenemar eis lasos l'Hashem. You could learn from the Zikna Yisrael that Boaz had a right to do that. Why? Because it says, v'omer eis lasos l'Hashem eferes rosecha. Sometimes, in order to stand up for the Rebbeinu Shalom, to do the right thing, you sometimes have to do things that can appear to be incorrect halachically. Amarava, high crowd, the pasuk of eis lasos l'Hashem eferes rosecha is, what's the word for it? It's a palindrome. You can darshan it frontwards, you can darshan it backwards. Mereishel a sefer midrash, and misefel a reisha midrash. Mereishel a sefer midrash, eis lasos l'Hashem. My time, mishum eferes rosecha. Eis lasos means we have to get up and make a move. Why do we have to make a move? Mishum eferes rosecha. There's something happening here that's a special circumstance that demands special action. So eis lasos l'Hashem, we need special action now. You know why? Because there's a danger over here. That's one shot. And Misefel Reisha Midrash, you also can darshan the pasuk backwards. Heferes rosecha. They did something that seems to be violating the Torah. such as using the Shem Hashem in a greeting. My time, why did they do that? Mishum eis lasos l'Hashem. Because you have to do something for Hashem. So really, the difference in meaning is going to be on the Heferes Rosecha. Is Heferes Rosecha the thing that is the action that was done? Or is Heferes Rosecha the thing that instigated to do the Eis Lasos L'Hashem? Right? That's what the Shaila about the Heferes Rosecha is referring to. What's it?
The writing of the Torah Shabbat was in Eis Lasos.
That's right. The whole writing. But there's two messages. We have to make a move because the Torah is falling apart. People are forgetting Torah Shabbat. That's one way to learn it. The other way to learn it is the fact that they wrote the Mishnayos in and of itself was a Heferes Rosecha. Why did they do it? Because of Eis Lasos L'Hashem. So all we're changing is the meaning of the Heferes Rosecha. Is the Heferes Rosecha the cause for the Eis Lasos L'Hashem, or is the Heferes Rosecha the reaction that was the action done as the Eis Lasos L'Hashem? Right, the Heferes Rosecha could be what they did. They were misaken Torah Shabbat to write it down. So it seems to be like a violation, but they did it to justify because of Eis Lasos L'Hashem. Or the Heferes Rosecha means there's something going wrong before that triggered that we had to do an Eis Lasos L'Hashem.
Is it reactionary or is it?
Both the meaning of the whole statement is the same. The question is, what is the Heferes Rosecha?
What happened first?
Catalyst.
Right. Correct. Exactly. That's the right way to. Is it the catalyst? Is it the result? Tanya Hillel Zaken said, "B'shas hamachnisen," in a time where there's, let's look at from business. When supply is short, pazer. That's the time to sell. So if there's no supply, there's no one learning Torah. There's no one who knows Torah. That's the time to teach Torah. B'shas hamafazrin. But when there's the tremendous supply, kanes, that's a time to hold. That's a time to hold your money, to hold your product so that you could sell it in a higher demand time. It's the same thing. When there's no people to teach Torah out there, you should be teaching Torah. But if there's plenty of Rosh Yeshivas, you don't have to be a Rosh Yeshiva. Not every exit on the Garden State Parkway needs to have a yeshiva. Doesn't have to, right? You could become a plumber. There's other ways to earn a living. You don't have to be a Rosh Yeshiva. If there's a need for Torah, then you become a Rosh Yeshiva. Remember Isador. That's pshat in the Gemara. Remember Isador, Shatorah Chaviv Olav, if you see a generation that there's a demand for Torah, Pazer, that's the time to teach Torah. Shenemar Yesh Mefazer V'Nois Avoid. The Isador She'ena Torah Chaviv Olav, if you see a door that there's a lack of interest, then Kanes, then don't push Torah. Shenemar Eis Lasos L'Hashem Heferes Rosecha, meaning. I'm going to read the second to the last Rashi. Kanes atav latito sura aleim the absolute kavet shemaimi lechas b'mitzvah hanovok of Eis Lasos Heferes Rosecha. Sometimes don't teach Torah. If there's no demand for it, you're going to be mevazed the Torah with it. So better you should. Dosh Rab Kapara, Bar Kapara. Zelos, if things are cheap, kavoitz knomina. Jump to buy as much as you can. In other words, when things are cheap, that's when you should buy, because eventually it's going to go up. Ba'aser the less gavar tanon have a gavar. In other words, when there's no gavar around, you should be a gavar. There's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos that says same thing. What does it say? Right, so they ask, what's the big chiddush of Bar Kapara? It's a Mefurish Mishnah. So some people answer, because there's a Shaila Pshat in this Gemara, there are those who answer that B'makam Sheni Shtad is speaking about Milu Daskonis. If there's something that has to get done, and no one's doing it, get it done. Here we're talking about Psak Halacha. If there's no poskim around, everybody's a Rosh Yeshiva, and nobody wants to be a posik, you should get in to becoming a posik. Amar Abaye.
I guess it ties in also to where when things are cheap, go do it. So in other words, no one's a paisik.
Exactly, ties into the same thing. Where there's a demand for something, be there, will not know. There's also some Rishonim who are medaik. Here it says, have a gavar. If there's no one around, be a man. There it says in the Mishnah, it doesn't say tia ish, it says hishtadli ish. And I think that means is you have to set yourself up, you have to be ready to do it, but never push yourself in until there's a real demand for it, but prepare yourself to be able to fill a need in the event that there's a need. Omar by Shmamina, you see from here, the ba'asher the iskavar, Taman loy tavagavar. You see from here, in fact, that if there are other poskim around, don't push your weight around to become a posik. So pshita. Of course, if there's somebody who's greater than you, why should you push him out? Let's say there's a posik, and you're just a choshev with him. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Let Yener be the posik, and you could sell stocks for a living. You could do something else. So this Gemara is a very important thing. When a person wants to go into Milah de Kedusha, he has to make sure that he's not doing it for himself. He has to make sure he's doing it as a need for his Talmidim. Dosh bar kapara. Eizehu, when you're in Shidduchim, when you have a Adar in Shidduchim and you speak to Rosh Hashivas about Bochum, you can easily detect which Rosh Hashivas are in it for their Talmidim and which Rosh Hashivas might not be, or not too much. I've had some wonderful experiences seeing Rosh Hashivas go way out of their way for Talmidim. And whenever I would call a Rosh Hashiva, and there's certain Rosh Hashivas that when I call, they answer on the first ring. Because the first time I called them, they didn't get back to me. So then I called them back 2 days later, and I said, I very much appreciate that the Rosh Hashiva told me that this bacher is not even worth a phone call back. So I told the Shatkan no, because the Rosh Hashiva felt that this bacher wasn't even worth a phone call back. So of course I get called back a second later, I said, it's okay, Rosh Hashiva, it's okay. We'll wait for the next one. So this Rosh Hashiva, whenever I call him, he goes to an answering machine, but not like a call answer built into the phone system. He has the old-fashioned answering machines, so he can hear you leaving a message. So it goes to a machine all the time, and when he hears my voice, he always picks up the phone. So I've had a couple of Rosh Hashivas that, I tell that to them, because I know the Rosh Hashiva doesn't call back about one of his brachim right away. He's supposed to be there for his brachim. I told him, say hin, say a hair. But if this was the best brachim in your yeshiva, you would have probably called me back right away. That's possible too. But he could have told me that. I went to the best Rosh Hashivas before they give me information. They don't know who I am. They'll ask me, tell me who you are and what you're looking for. And they'll tell me, you know what? This is not for you. Right? So they don't give me information on him. They question me out and they tell me if it's for me or not, which shows that they care about their brachim. They want to protect them. And I respect it. Dosh bar kapara. Ezuhi Parsha Ketana. What's a small little pasuk? Shekol Guvei Torah Klimba. That all the Guvei Torah are told in it. So the Gemara Bechol Derchecha De'eu. If you are everything, Afilu La'avar Avera, Rashi says. Whatever you do, Da'eu Rashi Tein Leiv. Put your heart to it. Im Tzorich Mitzvu Kagon Eliyah Bar Carmel Avorelel. In everything you do, you have to think, this is what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants from me. So even if it's something that's not politically correct, Eliyahu Novi was makriv korbanos on a public bum not in the Beis Hamikdash, but for who yashar chesecha, the Rebbeinu Shalom will straighten out your ways. Such as what Eliyahu Novi did by Har Carmel. A person should always teach his son a easy and light umnus. Mahi, what is an example of that? Rab Chisda machna the Talmiyusa. It's a certain type of crocheting that makes a certain type of nice begodim. Shetfiris asuya shura shurish ketalmi mana. I think it means crocheting. You're creating a beged in rows, or knitting. Yeah. So that's a good umnus to teach your son. So I think in the Ben Yehoyada that there's no umnus that doesn't have a niyus or a shiris. So since Parnosa doesn't depend on what umnus you do, you might as well pick an umnus that's not difficult. So I can give you one advice. HVAC is not kalu nakia. HVAC is not kalu nakia. I can't speak for anything else. Zok more about Tanya. Rabbi Omer. I think
that you don't get your hands dirty. How did you translate it?
I'm not sure. No, my hands, the dirt on my hands wash off at the end of the day. I know certain lawyers that no matter how much soap they use, it won't wash off. So I'm not sure what nakia means. I know.
Tell me, accounting is not nakia.
What?
You're gonna.
I said no, not always. I know when I was in Lakewood, they used to the best parnosa is to be a collector's item. What's a collector's item? If you marry a girl who's very wealthy and her father worked very hard for his money, he's not going to feel comfortable just wasting it on you. I busted myself, and you're living large on my account. But what if your shver is also an agent by somebody rich, and he also never worked a day in his life, and he's only rich because he got everything from his father, and you're his item? Then you're a collector's item. So that was the best type of shidduch to do, is to be a collector's item, because you could tell him, what do you mean I don't work for money? You don't either work for your money. We're both mooching, so let's do it together, right? So that was a Noach Kalu Nakia. Because how you have all the money you need, that's how you don't even have to feel guilty about it, because you're mooching from a moocher, right? So that was called the collector's item. Tanya. Rabbi Eimer, a person shouldn't party too much with friends in his house. Shenemar ish reim lisroya. Now there's a shaila on what lisroya means. Rashi's lisroyts, it'll get smashed down like a koshel ru'uya. It could damage his home, or it could also mean that it leads to ra. Tanya Rabbi Eimer al yimna odem apotropos b'soich beisai. A person should not have an apotropos take over and run his house. You know why? Shel malei loymina patifar es Yosef. Apotropos b'soich beisai. If apotropos would not have appointed Yosef to be an apotropos, loybalo sedover, his wife would not have had almost an affair. Tanya Rabbi Eimer. Lama nismecha parshas Nazir leparshas Soita. Why is the parsha of Nazir near the parsha of Soita? Le'melach to tell you, shekol roya Soita b'kol kula. Anybody who sees what happens when someone is too lax in his tznius, yazer atzim nayayin. Frekta b'chaim shmulevitz fakert. Someone who didn't see Soita b'kol kula, he needs that shmira. Someone who saw such a mire where someone explodes. The lady explodes where in the Beis Hamikdash, and the milkman explodes wherever he is. He's never going to do a chet. He's the last person who needs the Naziris. So what's pshat? Zokter B'chaim Shmulevitz, a beautiful word. Whenever someone has a tremendous inspiration, you have to act on it to crystallize it. So someone who's outside of Kugel, he made up, that's it. I'm never going to do an affair again. What you should do, crystallize it, become a Nazir, and now you put your inspiration into a solid action. And it goes with a famous story where in the dining room, there was the Rosh Hashiva, this is back in Reb Chaim's days, I think. The dining room, the Rosh Hashiva was for herring boys, and he asked one boy a shaila, and he didn't have the answer, and he was embarrassed in front of everybody. And he left the dining room, and he went to learn, he ran out of the dining room, he sat and learned, and he didn't stop learning, he became a Yishlam Chacham. So they asked Reb Chaim, did he do the right thing? He left the dining room before he benched. So Reb Chaim said, I don't know if he did the right thing, but I can tell you one thing for sure. Had he not left immediately then, had he benched first and let it cool off, he would never have been the Talmud Chacham that he was. Spoken like a true brisker. But the point is when you have an inspiration, you have to solidify it with an action. Amar Chizkiah, I once had a big inspiration to lose weight, and I went that day and I signed up for Harry Brooker and to Gunish Geholfen. Amar Chizkiah bereda peinach Amar Beichanan. Lama nismecha Parshas Soita leParshas Trumas Amaishus. Rabbi Elvin spoke out from the Sfas Emes that it's interesting that in the Torah first we have the Parsha of Soita and then we have the Parsha of Nazir. But in the Gemara, Nazir is first and then comes Soita. So the it's either the Imam he spoke out there or the Sfas Emes. He said that really you have to have the Sur Meirah, and then you could have the Asay Toiv. And that's how the Torah set it up. But Chazal knew that if we wait for the Sur Meirah to have the Asay Toiv, it'll never happen. So just do the Asay Toiv simultaneously. Why is Soita right after Trumas Amaishus, right before Trumas Amaishus? Loimelach kol sheyesh Trumas Amaishus veinoin noiston lakoin. Anybody who's Trumas Amaishus doesn't give him to the kohen, and the Moshe speaks out about it, doesn't mean he's stealing it. He's a ganav. It means he doesn't actively run after kohanim to give it to. Rather, he waits till they come. And if they come, I'll give it to them. If they don't come, I won't give it to them. Then soif nitzrach lakoin ayreishtei. At the end, he's going to need the kohen's help because his wife is going to be a soita. Shenemar ve'ishes kodesh of v'lo yiyu. If a person keeps his kodesh, the pasuk from the pasuk is ve'ishes kodesh v'lo yiyu. A person has toivus anah. A person has the right to give the matnas kuneh whoever he wants to give it to. So that's his interest in it. But the pasuk is the Gemara is darshaning it. Ve'ishes kodesh v'lo yiyu. If you keep the kodesh for yourself, the samach what's going to happen after that is ishki sister ishtoi. Uksiv ve'ishes ishtoi. He has to bring it to the kohen. V'lo yiyu. Not only that, elasoif shenitzrach lehem shenemar ve'ishes kodesh v'lo yiyu. Eventually, he'll also need his own maishers. He'll become an ani, and he'll also need to take meiser, such as meiser ani. There's another pshat in the Ishes Kodesh V'lo Yiyu. There are those who learn pshat that it means the Ishes Kodesh V'lo Yiyu. If you withhold the meiser, then next year that's all you're going to have. So your yield will only be 1/10 of what it was this year. But if you give lavishly, you'll become wealthy. If a person who gives to the kohen, he'll have. What will he have? He will have a lot of money. I was once at a fundraiser, and the Reshiva speaks. They speak Burmese. They don't want to talk about money. And then the fundraiser gets up and says, Rabbi Boruch, money is not a dirty word. Money is a kosher word. And see that in the Gemara. A person gives money, talk about sakdelt. The Rosh Hashanah is not by alle uns. Anyone who combines Shem Shemayim b'Tzayroi, and there's a shadow what that means, we double his parnasa. Rashi says here, Meshat v'Shem Shemayim means shemavorach al hara dayin emes inami shemevakesh rachamim milafanav. Meaning he accepts the Rebbeinu Shem's nisyonis, but there are others who learn. He realizes that when he's in pain, the Rebbeinu Shalom is with him. Miloshin Shutfis. The Rebbeinu Shalom is with him in Tsar. Then he doubles his parnasa. Shneimar v'ayah shakai b'tzarecha v'kesef to'afesh. Your money will soar. Rab Shmuel Yochanan Omer parnasasim ma'ifefes loy kitzipor. His parnasa will soar like a bird. Shneimar v'kesef to'afesh. And I'm hoping that doesn't only mean you'll make a lot of money. It means it'll soar. It'll come easy. It won't be such a battle every day to make $1. If somebody weakens himself, shvachens himself up from Divrei Torah, he will not be able to stand up to Tzoros. Shneimar, Shravas b'yom Torah. Let's see the exact lashon pasuk. Hisrapisa b'yom Torah tzar. If you became lax, then in a difficult time you're not going to have strength. Rab Ami bar Mas Tamar Shmuel afilu mitzvah. Not only Torah, even one mitzvah that you're lax with. Shneimar. Hisrapisa, mikol makom, in anything that you relax, that's going to impact your ability to deal with difficult times. Amar Psefra, Ravo Hava Mishtoi. Ravo used to say, Kishiyot Chanina ben Achi Rabbi Yeshua, Chanina the nephew of Rabbi Yeshua, Legoila, meaning after he left Eretz Yisrael and now he was in Chutz La'aretz, he continued to be Hayima'aver Shonim v'keveh Chadashim b'Chutz La'aretz. He paskened on setting up the calendar even in Chutz La'aretz, which you're not supposed to do. And Rashi brings down the pasuk. The reason why you're not supposed to do it is because we say in the Devarim it says L'shichno Sidrishu Uvas Hashama called Risha Sha'at Doirish Lo Yehu El B'Shichno Shel Mochim. The Piskei Halacha that you paskin should be in the Beis Hamikdash. So what happened was Shigur Achar Shnei Talmid Chacham from Eretz Yisrael to protest the fact that he was infringing on what the Bnei Eretz Yisrael was paskin on. They sent to Talmid Chacham to try to win him over. And who did they send? Rebbeinu ben Kippur, Ben Bnei Shosachai ben Kavuto. Kimin Shiroi. So when he saw them coming, Amarem Lama Bosim, gentlemen, what are you doing here? Amarei, they wanted him to like them, so they said, Torah Banu. We came to learn Torah. That's not really what they came for. He called to them, these two visitors are Gedolei Adar, and their parents worked in the Beis Hamikdash. Right? We have a mission that says that Zechai was saying, this is, I think, in Yuma, he said that I used to read for the Kohen Gadol in Daniel, which I think was when they're keeping him up the night before Yom Kippur. So he had great respect for them, and what happened was, he would paskin on something that is tummy, and they would say it's Torah. Who Oiser? He would paskin Oiser be Matirin. So here they came under the guise of learning from him, and then they were contradicting whatever he said. These people are shov, they're toyu. Amr Lowy kvar benisa ve'iata yachal listar. It's too late. You already told us what great Talmidei Chacham are. We have already our written recommendations from you. You can't back out on that. So he told him, I don't understand, why are you contradicting me? Because we're undermining you. You know why? You're paskening on things that you have no business paskening on. How could you have ties to me? Akiva also did it. Amar Lowy, Haklish Kakap, Hanach Rabbi Akiva, you're not Rabbi Akiva. With all due respect, you're a big time Chacham, but you're no Rabbi Akiva. Because Shalehiniach Kamoisa Be'eretz Yisrael. When he left Eretz Yisrael, he didn't leave anybody on his Madrega in Eretz Yisrael. So he was head and shoulders above everybody, so he's still at the Paskin. Amar Lowy, so they told him back, so he told them, Afani, me as well, Lehinachti Kamoisa Be'eretz Yisrael. When I left Eretz Yisrael, there was nobody that was able to Paskin like I could. So I continued to Paskin. Amar Lowy, well guess what? We grew up. Gidim Shei Nachta, Nasat Yoshim. The little goats became rams. We steiged. We became bigger Talmid Chacham. They have big horns, and they sent us to you. And this is what they told us. Go tell him in our name. If he listens and he stops paskening, is very good. If not, Reb Chanina should be in Chayrim. So now it's already getting tough. So what happens? Not only that, tell his followers, tell the people who live in Galus, if they listen to us, mutav, that's going to be good. If not, then you know what? Then you're written off. You lie lahar. You ready to go up to the mountain and make avodah zarah. Achia was a prominent member of the community. He'll build a mizbeach. And Hananya, who's pasking the way he shouldn't be, Yinagan bekinar. He'll parade there for this avodah zarah. The chapru chulam, they'll wash themselves off and be koifer. It's a lesson of koifer. They'll be koifer in the Rebbeinu Shalom. V'yomer ein lam chelek b'lekei Yisrael. So that was a very strong statement made against the community. Miyad go kolom b'chiyah. They all started crying. V'yomer chas v'sholom yesh lam chelek b'lekei Yisrael. We do want to be part of Klal Yisrael. So now the question is, why were they so against Reb Chanina paskening? It's because the pasuk says that the psak has to come from Yerushalayim. So the problem is Rashi earlier said that the reason why you have to paskin on Tfisa Chodesh and Eretz Yisrael is because l'shichna sidushu v'asa shama. Now the Gemara is using a different pasuk. So the Mefarshim explained l'shichna sidushu v'asa shama is referring to where the Beis Hamikdash is standing. And they're talking about the Beis Hamikdash. When the Beis Hamikdash is around, everybody has to turn to the Sanhedrin and the Beis Hamikdash for guidance. We're talking after Churban Bayis. After Churban Bayis, we needed this pasuk of Kimitzi and Teitayr Udvar Hashem Yerushalayim. So Bishlama hu matar v'hematamin. Bishlama, if he would be matar, they would be machmer and say tamei l'chumra. And hu matar v'hematarin, how could they be matar something that was actually tamei? Hey chahavet. But Tanya Chacham Shetime in Chaver Rishoy Latar, also in Chaver Rash Latar. So Gemara Kasavri Kehecha the Nigru Basrei. So I didn't explain this. Here the Gemara is asking, how could they be mekel against the Chumrah? So to that is because they had to make a point to protest, to undermine him. However, I think the Mefarshim speak out, I think the Mashal speaks out that they weren't being matir something that was mamish osir. The Isser was a Chomer, it was a controversial Isser, so they were soymich on Poishkim that are mekel, but not that they're actually being matir something that's osir. When the Rabbanim went in to the Yeshiva in Yavna, which was set up like an auditorium in rows, they were all there. So imagine, you have a yeshiva that opens up in town. In those days, they didn't have dormitories, so hundreds, thousands of Talmidim will come from all over, and the people of the community had to host them, had to give them a place to sleep, had to give them food. So it was imposing on the community, and there was a lot of echsanias. So Rabbi Yossi really wanted to start off speaking by the opening of the yeshiva about the echsania, to compliment him. V'darshu, and they darshan. So the first one who spoke was Pasuk Rabbi Yehuda, Rosh HaMedabrim B'chol Mokim B'chol V'Torah. Rabbi Yehuda spoke first. He was the Rosh HaMedabrim, and Rashi tells us because of a Maisa in Rome, he spoke good on behalf of the Roman Empire, so they promoted him to speak first. There's another pshat that I heard why Rabbi Yehuda was Rosh HaMedabrim is because he used to speak short. As we see in the Agudah, the TUCC Hadash Bachav. He tried to express things in as short as possible. So obviously people liked him as a speaker. And he started with Chaber Torah. The Dosh as follows. Moshe took his oil and took it mechutz l'machana. It was only 12 mil away. How do we know it's 12 mil away? If you remember, we had the story of Melech HaBoshen who wanted to crush the Machne Yisrael. And it said that the Machne Yisrael was 3 mil by 3 mil. 3 mil is, it was 3 Parsha by 3 Parsha. A Parsha is 4 mil. So therefore, the Machne Yisrael was 12 mil by 12 mil, right? That means when Moshe Rabbeinu took his oil out, he was on one side of the camp. So if I lived on the opposite side of the camp, for me to get to Moshe, I had to walk 12 mil, right? I had to go through the entire camp if I made a kapandri out of it, right? So Matach over there, Amar Torah, Vayakam Hashem, Yetel Oramoyed, and they only went 12 mil, Talmidei Chachamim, who travel far more than 12 mil to learn Torah, Me'ir le'ir, u'memedina le'medina, lilmei Torah, alachas kama v'kama. So first, Reb Avrohum broke out, it doesn't say Vayakam Mavakish Torah, it says Vayakam Mavakish Hashem. Because somebody who wants to learn Torah, that's called a Mavakish Hashem. But the question that I had when I learned this Gemara is, this is talking about how great the Talmidei Chacham are. Where is this complementing the Achsanya? So the Mefarshim speak out by showing how great the guest is. That's showing the Achsanya what a great schus, what a great opportunity he has, because he is hosting Mavakshe Hashem. I think we should stop here, because they're saying brachas in 1 minute. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be able to finish the Masechta, but we'll probably be able to start Shabbos as well.
Tomorrow again. What are we doing over Yom Tov? Over Purim?